Thoughts on C1/C2 Columbina? So your most recent video, and her numbers seem insane. I haven't posted any videos on Columbina. You might have seen some clips. Take that sort of stuff with a massive grain of salt, because like, it's not curated to guarantee that there's no mistakes there. Okay, but I think they're very similar to like Farina constellations, where they're not massively impactful, but Columbina is going to be a character that you're going to see in a lot of teams for a while. So she's the sort of character that people that want to be able to just like get cons on the supports they'll use everywhere so that they can see benefits from them on all of their teams will like. But just in terms of a percentage increase, it's not that big of a deal. The energy restoration to Lunar Charge, sometimes it matters, but sometimes it just doesn't. So like, I think the biggest problem is that in general, you're only going to get the Lunar Charge effect in Lunar Charge teams, obviously. But pretty much every Lunar Charge teams wants to go Inefa. So unless you're playing carry Inefa, you're probably doing like Flynn's. And if you're doing Flynn's, you have Electro Resonance. You have Inefa Particle Gen. Flynn's ER requirements aren't that high. And with this, his ER requirements become 0. But that means that ER substats become completely useless. This could help you deal... This could allow you to do the, like, big burst Flynn stuff. But because the timing at which it happens is reliant on the gravity generation from Columbina, it's gonna be really annoying to make sure that it happens at the right times to let you do the big burst combo without increasing your ER requirements. So it's like, it's not bad, but numbers-wise, it's not going to be that big of a deal, right? The resistance to interruption, I think, doesn't really matter very much, because Nefer spends so much time dashing that she just doesn't really care that much about this, right? Like, half of her uptime is spent in iframes from dash anyways. So she's not as reliant on resistance to interruption. Yeah, exactly. Like, this is a lot more impactful to carry Columbina than it is to Nefer teams. And then the Lunar Crystallized one is nice, but you already have good options in Zabai teams that give you defensive utility, right? Zhongli is already pretty solid. And while Goro isn't that good, Goro C4 has a bit of healing. Pair that with Proto Amber on Columbina, which tends to be one of, if not her best weapon outside of Sig. And like, yeah, the shield helps, but you might not need it. And so all three of these things are very situational. Now you also just get straight up one more hit of the skill, which is nice. I think that the biggest thing is that since using your skill guarantees one hit of the thing, it means that in Lunar Charge teams, she is guaranteed to get a 6 energy refund. It's not just the other characters. So I'd say that the C1 is probably more impactful in Lunar Charge teams for her personal damage, and in Lunar Bloom teams when you're using her as a carry if you don't have Nefer. Or in Lunar Crystallized teams if you feel like you need the shield. But, like, yeah. Numbers-wise, it just doesn't do that much. And then the C2 is, like... It also gives you small buffs, and they're not that big. They're not worthless either. They're just there. With a small increase of personal damage. By the way, Proto Amber is considered her best free-to-play option, but in Stygian, wouldn't we have to wait for her burst until the 3rd rotation, or do we battery her to get it earlier? That's actually a really good question. Proto Amber is really good for her, but yeah, right? Because, like, usually, or the energy restoration of Proto Amber is tied to using burst, so you cannot get it whatsoever for your first burst. You have to build the 60 energy without the Proto Amber effect. So for the first rotation, your ER requirements are higher. So that does generally mean that your first burst might be later. which is like the biggest downside to using Proto Amber in her teams, and which is why in practice I think most people will eventually gravitate towards using Fav instead. But also, honestly, Columbina's burst isn't that big of a deal. Like, it's good, but she gets most of her value from the skill, not from the burst. So if you don't have the burst, it's not the end of the world, right? She's like Farina? Kind of, yeah. It's super important in Nefer teams, but not in Flynn's teams? That's not true. Actually, isn't it, like, the opposite? Isn't it less important? Oh, never mind. This passive is tied to... I didn't know this passive is tied to the burst, my bad. Okay, that makes sense then. Current top 10 DPS ranked by me. Oh boy, that's gonna be a banger. Right, I assume this is with current patch, right? Well, okay, I'm gonna guess Alhaitham is there because they're an Alhaitham main and they know he sucks. But they want to put him high because they like him a lot. But that's why there's 2 characters at number 3, right? Like I think we can use our noggin, okay, and read between the lines here that they don't actually think Alhaitham is here. So like, who are the good characters that aren't here? That like could potentially be argued to be here, like Clarent. Durin. I don't know if you really want to count Durin as a carry though. Like, meh. Lenny, sure. Navia. Okay, let's not go there, buddy. Inefa, maybe. Chaska, sure. Venti, Klugi. This is honestly not that bad, chat. The chatter introduced this as rage bait, but it's not that bad. Like, the Alhaitham isn't even rage bait. It's just like, this is actually just joy bait. This is someone who really likes Alhaitham and is aware he's not very good, but wants to pretend that he is. Like, I understand this. That's completely that's fair. Is Verissa even over Nefer and Flynn's? I'd say in current patch, yes. Next patch, probably not. Unless there's some major changes to Columbina. Oh yeah, we can take a look at the Stygian Onslaught stuff. People, I know people were like yapping about it when it was leaked the first time. Oh, bro's back? What the fuck? Why? Why would bro be back? I don't want to have to do this again. No! No, no, no! Stop that! Wow, this is fucking awful. Oh, God. That's just the crab, right? How am I doing this one? Can I do Milani? Or can you not hit it with Pyro? I don't know. Nevilette? Bro, this has 9 mil HP, man. Melt Skirk? 64 U Pyro for Milani? And Mona takes care of that. You know? Mona takes care of that, trust. Yeah, no, probably not, actually. Yeah, I guess you just do Nevilette. Don't think I'll be able to do Fearless for this, because I know I can do Fearless for this, right? Like, we have done Fearless for this before. And since then, we leveled our Verissa to 95, so it'll be easier next time. Not Fearless, Dire, yes, sorry. So I know we can Dire. Please read the description. He takes self-damage. He doesn't. Well, okay, he does, but he loses 10% HP once. Maybe twice. Read the last sentence. It does take self-damage. No. I don't think you're understanding. This is just that the damage you deal to the fucking, like, mini shields also damages the boss. But not 100% of it. Only part of it. Milani gets the double hits? Maybe, yeah. Anyways. Yeah, like, how cooked are you without Lunar for this, right? It gets a fucking 6 million HP shield. And when you break it, it only loses 20% HP. Yeah, I guess it depends on how tanky the minions are, right? It says crowd control characters. So keeping the anglers grouped is probably good, right?